What's going on, everybody? This is Con Chung from Concept Barbershop out here in San Jose, California. You heard me? We're back again with another video. Today we'll be doing a little trim on top and a taper on the side. If you guys notice how I'm placing the comb, you guys should give this a try, alright? I'm putting the comb right on his head and I'm holding it with my thumb. And this will help release some straining of your hand if you hold it with your thumb in between your thumb and your index finger. I noticed with time it strains your hand a little bit, so try that technique I just did. And right now, even though he's just asking for a taper on the side to make him look like he received a fresh haircut, you still got to take down the side a little bit. Even if the client just asked for a little taper on both side and the neck, still should take it down a little bit. Alright, so right now I'm using the magic clip. I'll post a link to the clipper in the description. But I got the clipper all the way closed and I'm making the upside down U shape. Alright, I do this so I can keep the neckline dark when I do line it up. And as you saw, I opened up the clipper about a quarter of the way and I'm taking it up a little less than a quarter of an inch, because we have a small space to work with. Alright, so as you go up on the taper, you can slowly straighten out that line. Alright, but you keep working this until you're fully open. Every time you open the lever, it's about a quarter of the way, and every time you go up, it's about a little bit less than a quarter of an inch. And then it's the same technique for the 0 guard, the 1 guard, and the 1.5 guard if you need it. Clipper all the way closed. Take this up about a quarter of an inch, maybe less. Alright, and then you open up the lever about a quarter of the way and you keep repeating that step back and forth until you're fully open, and then you move on to the 1 guard and then you do the same thing. Clipper all the way closed, go up about a little less than a quarter of an inch, open up the lever about a quarter of the way and repeat until you're fully open. And here I'm using the 1.5 guard, and I shouldn't have to open up the clipper here at all, because I should be able to blend out the darkness into the number 2 without having to open up the lever. Alright, remember to use the corner of the clipper. It really helps give you control over the smallest amount of space you're trying to work on. Alright, there it is. That's the neck taper, and now I'm moving on to the side taper. And again, it's the same technique, but this time I'm using majority just the corner of the clipper, because we're working with a small space. So to have control over what you're doing, use just the corner of the clipper. And again, it's clipper all the way closed. Form that little rainbow upside down U shape. Work that up about a little less than a quarter of an inch, because we have a small amount of space to work with. Go up, open up the lever, keep repeating it until you're fully open, and then move on to the next guard, which is the 0 guard. Repeat those same steps, move on to the next guard, which is the 1 guard. Alright, again, use the corner of the clipper. You have more control over what you're doing. Alright, try to move the ears out the way. Alright, you don't want to cut the ear, you don't want to rub and irritate the ear. And now I'm taking down the beard with the 1.5. Alright, so this guy's been my client for a very long time. So what you gotta do with client is you gotta ask them to help you out. Alright, in tough places to get, ask them to lift up their neck, move their chin, puff out, stuff like that, to make your job easier so that you can give them the best cut you can give them. Alright, he's been a client of mine for a very long time, so he's used to what I gotta do, so he helps me out. Ask your client to help you out. And so now I'm fading into the beard, and again, it's the same technique as the taper, but you're just going downward on the beard. Clipper all the way closed. I'm going down about a quarter of the way. I open up the lever about a quarter of the way, and then I go down another quarter of an inch, and I keep repeating it downward until I'm fully open, and then I move on to the 0 guard and so on onto the 1 guard. It's the same technique, but you're just going downward, and then it's the same thing on the other side also. Alright, make sure to check both sides back and forth to see that your fade is about level with each other. Also, keep your client clean. Alright, keep them comfortable. Right here, before I go on to lining them up, I'm just making sure I'm trimming all the hair on top. Even though you you already trimmed it with the scissors, you know, sometimes there's loose hair, you know, so just to tighten up a little bit, I freehand it and I double check. All right, when you look at your client directly, you see what they will see when they look in the mirror. And so right now I'm moving on to the lineup, and I'm using the Wahl SideKick, which I'll be raffling off next Monday. All right, May 7th, 8 p.m. Pacific time. Tune in on YouTube, all right, as I go live to raffle everything off. But I set my starting point right in the middle, and then I work towards the side that's higher. All right, and I always stay face to face with my client, and the only thing that's moving is my hand. Why? Because if you were to move with your hand, you will lose track of where the starting point is, and you will throw your lineup off. All right, stay face to face with him, so you always have the point of reference in your view, and from there you can gauge how high to go or how low to go. All right, so the only thing that's moving is your cutting hand. I'm standing face to face with him. I can see the left side of his hairline, and I can compare it to the right side of the hairline. And right here, you want to angle this line out. All right, don't angle it straight down, and definitely don't angle it inward. All right, you want to angle this sideline right here out and away from the ears. And right now I'm creating the hooks for him, and if you watch, I'm using just the corner of the clipper, a little bit at a time. I'm just tapping it. All right, tap, 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 tap until I form the shape that I'm looking for, and then come back and clean it up and make it sharper. All right, once you set in your line, then you come back and trace it and make it how you like it. And again, this line behind the ear is the same technique. I'm using just the corner of the clipper, and I'm just tapping it to form the shape that I want. All right, do a rough draft, create the shape that you want, and then come back and do cleanup work. All right, and when you're doing the beard, you want to angle your trimmers like this, upside down, so you can see the line that you're cutting. If you're holding it right side up, your hand will block the line that you're cutting, so it's more difficult, it's harder to see. Turn it upside down like this so you can see what you're cutting. All right, and then when you're doing the side of the line, ask your client to help you out again. Make sure it's straight, and that's what it'll look like right there. And don't forget this line right here, right behind the beard. All right, straighten that out, keep it as natural as possible. You definitely don't want to take it too far into his jaw. Keep it natural. All right, onto the lineup. Again, stretch that skin. Wherever that blade is, there should be a finger in front of it stretching that skin out. Keep that skin tight so you don't cut them. Keep it tight. And again, use just the corner of any tool when you want to do curved lines, because you'll have more control over what you're doing. And if you notice, wherever the blade is, there's a finger in front of it stretching that skin out. Keep that skin tight. Again, if you need help, ask your client to help you out. Tell him blow out or bite his bottom lip or whatever to help you tighten out the skin. Don't forget the line behind the ears. All right, it's a little difficult, but if you can get this line right, it'll make your taper pop. Use just the corner when you're doing curved round lines. All right, you have more control over what you're doing, and when you're doing straight line, you can use more of the blade. And there it is, you guys, a nice little ball taper, a little trim on top. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Tune in Monday the 7th, 8 p.m. Pacific time to watch me do the raffle. Peace.